Hi folks, and welcome back to the Storm and Cellar. Years after U.S. Navy F-18 pilots discovered an UFO, their naval careers ended abruptly. Let me recap the incident for you. First, Commander David Fravor was the commander of an F-18 Super Hornet squadron, VFA-41. While flying off the USS Nimitz and off the coast of San Diego during a training exercise, Commander Fravor was leading a flight of 2 Super Hornet aircraft, with his wingman being Lieutenant Alex Dietrich and 2 NFOs in the rear seats of the Hornets. They were the primary witnesses of the UFO incident that years later the Pentagon was forced to finally admit that there was more to the story than they'd been saying before. First, let's look at exactly what transpired that day. It was November 14th, 2004, when the guided missile cruiser USS Princeton, which was also part of the Carrier Strike Group 11, started getting intermittent radar hits on its very advanced phased array radar. The Princeton instructed the F-18 pilots to change their course and run intercepts on the unidentified radar hits. Now, the weather conditions that day was clear and a million with calm seas. Fravor was the primary witness to the UFO incident. The incident was recorded by Chad Underwood, who also coined the term tic-tac UFO to describe what they saw. The Navy flight crews reached the intercept location but had no contact on the radars. Now, this is possible because of the zero-speed pulse Doppler effect. However, as they looked down at the sea and almost noticed a turbulent oval area of churning water with foam, which they described as about the size of a Boeing 737 airplane, and with a smoother area of lighter color at the center, as if the waves were breaking over something just under the surface. This would be like a submarine about to surface. As far as the UFO, a few seconds later, they noticed an unusual object hovering over that exact location at a height they estimated to be about 50 feet above the churning water. So both Fravor and his NFO later described the object as that bright white tic-tac, or 30 to 46 foot long, with no windshield, portholes, no wing or empennage, no visible engine or exhaust plume. So Fravor began a circular spiral descent to approach the object, and as he did, the object began a box-like maneuvering, turning on a dime with great speeds. Fravor then made a more aggressive maneuver, diving his fighter to aim below the object. But at this point, the UFO accelerated and disappeared in less than 2 seconds, leaving what the pilot said as pretty weirded out. Now, within seconds, the Princeton radioed the jets that a radar target had reappeared 60 miles away from the previous point. That would have meant the object had traveled more than 42,000 miles per hour to get to that location. So now here's my question. Did their careers end because of their UFO reporting? Something just isn't tracking here. A top-of-the-line fighter squadron commander will definitely make the rank of captain unless he really screws up badly. But yet Commander Fravor didn't. He retired as a commander. Lieutenant Alex Dietrich, Fravor's wingman, a woman with tons of combat experience, quits flying after a little over 6 years of flying time. Less time than required for naval aviators to pay back for their training. She goes on to staff job shortly after the UFO incident. What's really unusual is that a woman fighter pilot like Dietrich, who didn't go on to make at least the rank of commander, is highly unusual. She would have been pushed up through the ranks like a rocket. No pun intended. Okay, these things happen, but what I want to know is why. Was Fravor tired of the Navy, being an aviator in any capacity, or just didn't want to go any further? I've known squadron commanders who retired early and didn't make colonel, but most of that was due to the losing cockpit time as a staff assignment, and that would have hurt them from going to the airlines later on. Fravor didn't go to the airlines. As for Dietrich, Did she want to start a family, afraid of flying any longer, or something else? Or was it more sinister in the fact that the DoD has been shaming and killing careers of aviators who have brought alien aircraft sightings or UFOs or UAPs to the military's attention for decades? Perhaps Fraper and Dietrich was caught up in DoD's career-killing action that's been going on probably since 1947 Roswell incident. But why would they not say something or drop the dime on the military if that was the case? After all, later when asked what the UFO was, Fraper responded, something not from the Earth. He's even appeared in UFO symposiums. Dietrich, on the other hand, seems to acknowledge that the UFO incident actually happened, but in interviews she seems to have suppressed her feelings about it. She says she's not a UFO enthusiast or advocate. Her grandfather was at the tip of the sword of sci-fi, but Dietrich says she's not interested in that, and she deals more in actual science. Well, she's actually said over the years she hasn't thought much about her experience with UFO. I'm sorry, but I find these comments strange, to say the least. I mean, one day, you and 3 others saw something that defied physics as we know it, and you blow it off as non-science. Dietrich has a degree in engineering, but the natural physics of the UFO doesn't tweak her interest. Well, thanks to President Trump, he put a line in the coronavirus relief bill that made the Director of National Intelligence and the Secretary of Defense to generate a report on everything the government knows about UAPs, including Fraper and Dietrich sighting, as well as the radar footage from the F-18s that was scrambled that day.
These 3 videos, released by the Department of Defense, have changed the way many people see what we can't explain.
Fortunately, at least Fraper is still asking questions and communicating with others on the UFO topic. In May 2019, Fraper was a featured speaker at the UFO Fest in Oregon. Fraper and Bob Lazar, who worked in Area 51, reportedly spent a lot of time speculating on the UFO's use of gravity propulsion, which Lazar has been claiming for years to be part of a U.S. government cover-up on alien technology. So many of us have followed the UFO phenomena for years, but this particular interest really makes me wonder what happened to Fraper and Dietrich's sudden career departure from flying and an abrupt end to their promotions. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during the debrief they received from Naval and DoD intelligence folks. How about you guys? Did any of you know Fraper and Dietrich? Perhaps you can share some insight to what happened to their careers. I personally believe the Navy killed their careers. So let me know what you think by leaving your comments below. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Hit the little bell if you want to be notified of any further videos. So until next time, make sure all your takeoff and landings equal.